Marvel Legends have made a lot of action figures, and a lot of those are Avengers, but there are still some Avengers that I'm missing from my display. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, and today we're talking Marvel Legends Avengers. This is a solo show, a newer, leaner version of the Strong Collectors Podcast. Now, we have a ton of Marvel Legends Avengers. Now, there's a lot of characters that are part of the Avengers, and obviously with that, there's going to be some gaps in our collection. Now, there's one display that I really want to complete. It's my favorite comic book cover of all time. I even got this cover, this comic graded, even though it's not that valuable, but this is how I learned a lot of the characters. I was a little kid, go over to kind of one of my friends, uncle's friend's house. He had this poster on the wall, and I would go through and be like, who's that one? What are their powers? Who's that? What do they do? Now, pop quiz for you all. There's 3 characters on here that I had to go to the Facebook groups and ask who they were. Who was these 3? See if you know, put it in the comments. Now, let's talk about who we have as a good representation of this, because there are some that we have, but they're very different, and some are like way different. And then we have some on here that we've never had in Marvel Legend form before. Quick pause in the show to show you this graph. Regular subscribers, you know all about this. Some folks are watching, but they're not subscribed. Don't be one of them. Hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, you can also hit the join button. Let's get back to the show. So, front and center, we've got Captain America. Now, we have a lot of Captain Americas to choose from. I think your best option for this is the Gamerverse Captain America. I think it's kind of that, no chainmail as how this one's looking on the comic cover here. So that's where I think this one's a good option. I also do like the 20th for this. I think that one comes with a pointing hand. So I think I like to display that there. Next is Iron Man. And we actually have this specific Iron Man from the Chod Build-A-Figure wave, the Heroes Return Iron Man. I think it does a decent job. It's maybe not 100% accurate, but that's what I'm going to display for this Avengers shelf. You've got Giant Man back there. Now, we don't have this exact look for Giant Man, I don't think, but you could fudge in your either Toy Biz Build-A-Figure, which is what I do, or if you've got the HasLab, that'll also work. Then you've got Thor, which we also have a really good representation of this Thor from the Destroyer 2-pack. So you can put him in there. I use the spinning effect from the Ragnarok Thor because on the cover here, he's spinning his hammer. Make that represented in action figure form. Then down lower, we've got Scarlet Witch. Now, again, several different Scarlet Witches to choose from. I think probably the retro is the go-to here. Then we move over to the left side. We've got Tigra. We've got 2 different Tigers to choose from, and I think you're definitely going to want to go with the West Coast Avengers 2-pack. That's got a little bit better colors than the retro, so that's the one I would go with for my display. Now, even sticking with that same 2-pack, we can go all the way over to the far left side. We've got Spider-Woman, and again, I would stick with that 5-pack of the West Coast Avengers. Now let's bring it down to the bottom. Underneath Captain America, we've got Hawkeye. And this one, again, this looks a little bit darker, so maybe you'd want to go with the kind of what I would use as my Dark Avengers Hawkeye from, I think that was the All-Father wave. I would still probably go more the Sky Cycle route, but both of those will work. And then right below Hawkeye's bow, we've got Sandman, which maybe surprises some people, but he was part of the Avengers during this time. For that, I'd probably go with the retro. You could use the Build-A-Figure, but I think that's a little bit too big here. Like if I'm trying to match this display, he's going to be towards the back, so I'd kind of want him to be a little bit smaller. Then if we go up above Captain America, we've got Machine Man, who kind of stretches out throughout this entire picture here. We only have one option for Machine Man, and I think it works. That's from the All-Father wave. Then we go over to Black Widow, and for this one, I think we got to go with the classic Earth's Mightiest. I think the head sculpt there is going to work out pretty well. Then right above her, we've got Star Fox, who technically isn't out yet, but we do have him on the way from the 2-pack with the Champion. Then we go a little bit over to the left again. We've got Namor, and the one I would pick for this is it the Walgreens one? I think that's kind of in the Speedo look. Yeah, because the Okoye wave, or was this the Okoye wave? It's either the Okoye wave, obviously the one in the Speedo. That's the one you're going to want. Quasar, again, one option for him. You're going to go with the Walgreens exclusive. Vision, up at the top. Now, this one, although it's maybe not your best action figure, most updated action figure, I still think that you're going to want to go with the Hulkbuster. I think that matches the colors, where the yellow is a little bit more up on his chest. Next, let's go all the way down to the bottom. We're going to go with Black Panther next. And this one, I think you're going to go with the Atuma. Probably just pop off that cape, and it's going to look very similar to this. You've got kind of those more gray boots and gloves, and I think that's going to match really well. Then let's go back all the way up to the corner. Probably the biggest character on here, even though we've got Giant Man, but Hulk is jumping up out of the corner. And I think for this one, I would probably lean more towards the 80th. I think that's more of the head sculpt that matches this. Maybe you'd go with the 20th. I don't think the maximum really works for this one at all. So you're going to have to go with a little bit older Hulk. Then right beside his fist, we've got Spider-Man swinging in. And I think the Spider-Man that matches this look is going to be your maximum. And you can even hit those poses that he's swinging in right now with. So that's a cool touch. Right beside him is Binary. And that one, we have pretty much the exact look from the Walgreens wave. On the other side of Spider-Man, we've got Darkhawk, which you don't really see his wings in this, but I think they're there. But then, again, you're going to go with the Titus wave. Really your only option for him, but I think it's going to work out well. Then let's head down to the bottom again. We're going with Black Knight. Now, you've got a few options here, but for this look, you're going to have to go all the way back to the early days of Hasbro in the Brood wave. You've got this look. Now, I would love if Hasbro redid this look. This is my favorite look for Black Knight, so I'm hoping we get that update sometime soon, but I also still love that Brood wave Black Knight. Beside him, we have Crystal, and I think the Crystal from the Crystal Lockjaw 2-pack is going to do pretty well for this. Maybe not exactly perfect, but it's pretty much there. Now we're going to get into the characters that we've got, but we're going to have to fudge them in because they're not quite in the right costume. We'll start with Wasp, right in the center there. Now, I have on my list here as a Marvel Legend, probably go with the Goliath from Toy Biz, the little tiny Wasp that comes with that. But this Wasp is also, I think she's wearing the same costume as an old HeroClix that I used to have. So maybe you go all the way down in like tiny, tiny Wasp and get the HeroClix. For She-Hulk, I don't think we have this exact look, but I think this is probably the closest to her the A-Force 5-pack. Maybe you want to even go a little bit newer and you can get the retro. You're not going to want the Fantastic Four one though. But again, it's almost there, but we've got to fudge a little bit. Next to her is Quicksilver. And we don't have this look, but I think this would be an easy one for Hasbro to do. I think we're going to go to Family Matters for this one. I think for some reason, I feel like this Quicksilver looks shiny to me, even though it's, white and dark blue. He's not actually shiny. I just think that darker blue is going to work out better than was that the Blob Build-A-Figure wave or Annihilus, the early Hasbro Quicksilver. Then we're going dead center with Beast. Now with Beast, really the only thing we're missing here is this type of head sculpt. It's a very specific style. So I think if we ever did get another comic Beast, I would hope that they throw this in. This Beast is maybe a little bit smaller than the Beasts that we have too, but I think, again, I really like that Beast body from the retro. So I think we're going to go with the retro, but we do need a slightly different head for this. And going up to the left, we've got Hercules. Now, I really like this look for Hercules. I don't know that we're going to see this in comic book form ever, but for this one, I would swap in the Thanos Build-A-Figure Wave one, the Hercules with the pants. I don't think the retro one quite fits this look. He's got kind of like an armored lower section here. Thanos Wave's not quite like that, but I think it'll do the trick. Then right next to Beast, we've got Cersei. Now, we don't have this look for Cersei, but I know there's the comic 2-pack with Black Knight, but to me, you can let me know if I'm wrong, I think the closest version to this Cersei is going to be your MCU Eternals Wave Cersei. It's going to be dirt cheap to get it, but I think that one probably fits this comic book cover the best. Then we go up to Moondragon, which I think this is the style of Moondragon that most people want. Are we ever going to get it from Hasbro? I would highly doubt it. I don't think she's quite a popular enough character to see another release. So for that, we're going to have to go with the only option that we currently have, and that's the 2-pack that came with Drax. If we go down below her a little bit, we've got Falcon. Now, we've got rumors of another classic Falcon coming in the Secret Wars wave, which I'm pretty excited about. But out of the ones that we have currently so far, I think you're probably going to have to go with the Joe Fixit wave Falcon. This one's a pretty different look, but it's going to get the job done. And this one, I just really don't see us ever getting this look for Falcon because it's a very specific time period of him. I don't think Falcon's quite popular enough during this time period to warrant a figure being made. Then right next to him, we've got Photon, and this one I think would be easy enough to customize. You just get your regular Monica Rambeau from the Doctor Doom 2-pack, paint it all yellow, and then you've got her powered up. I do think it would be kind of cool to see a more translucent version of this made. Maybe if Monica Rambeau Photon gets a lot more popular in the MCU, maybe we would see it, but I just don't think so. Then one of the most different costumes that we have, we've got Rage right in between Black Panther and Beast. We've only got one option for Rage. It looks nothing like this version. I think this version looks a little cooler, but we're going to have to go with the Abomination, the Gamerverse Abomination wave. Now this one was one of the ones that I said earlier, who can guess who this is, because I had to go to the Facebook groups to learn who it was. Right below Beast, underneath Cersei, one of the smallest characters shown here farthest back, we've got US Agent. Now I feel like as part of the leaks list, there was a ForceWorks US Agent possibly on that leaks list. Maybe I'm making that up. This one I do think is very possible if it's not on the leaks list. I could see this coming out more in like a Iron Man retro wave, because I feel like this was his look in the cartoons. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is possible at least. Now before we get into the characters that have never been made into Marvel Legends, if you want to get your current Marvel Legends right now, you can head over to gonewmeta.com, use code STRONG101 and get 10% off every order. Now we're getting into the figures that we have never seen in Marvel Legend form. If we go all the way over to the right, we've got Rick Jones and kind of his hover wheelchair. I'm sure there's some sort of kit bashing that we could do. I'm thinking maybe the Professor X hover chair, and then get yourself kind of a more regular plainclothes civilian, maybe like a Peter Parker would almost fit this. But I do think that is crazy that we've never seen a Rick Jones either in like his regular civilian form in like a Hulk 2-pack, or even as A-Bomb, which that's high on my wish list of Marvel Legends that we get someday. But we slide over just a little bit to the left from there. This was another character that I had never heard of before, and this is Magdalene, I believe. So much more armored up. When I posted in the Facebook group, some people thought maybe it was Lady Sif. This one, I would be shocked if we ever got a Marvel Legend of this. I probably will have to somehow fudge a Lady Sif into this character if I ever wanted to complete this display here, because I think she was only in like the comics for a short bit, and then she gets sent back to some other dimension. But then we slide over a little bit farther to the left. Below Beast, we've got two figures that have never been made as Marvel Legends. We've got Swordsman and Demolition Man. I think you could fudge a Demolition Man with the classic suit yellow Daredevil, and then maybe put like a soft goods jacket from Gambit, and then do a head swap. I don't know what head swap. Maybe there's some G.I. Joe or wrestling figure, I bet, that would work with that head swap. Swordsman, I would be shocked if we don't get him in the next couple of years. I feel like that's a very classic Avenger that's missing, and a lot of people would really want to see that. If we go up in between Thor and Scarlet Witch, we've got Stingray. That's another character that I think, this was on my bingo card of characters I was guessing that Hasbro was going to make, I think. And this one is maybe not quite as popular or as obvious as Swordsman. And I think Dwight was even asked about this at New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con one time, and he was saying that he didn't know how to make the kind of wings effect the right way. So, I mean, I guess I'm glad that they're not just throwing out a figure that's half-baked and not really ready to go. I do think they would do this at some point, though. Then if we go up to the middle top, we've got Firebird, which we actually mentioned in one of our previous episodes with the Hispanic Heritage Month. I think Firebird would make a lot of sense. Maybe not the most popular of Avengers, but I could see her being added into like a Build-A-Figure wave or a 2-pack with somebody else that you really want, somebody more popular, since she's a little bit on the less popular side, but I'm still going to need her to complete this display. And then the final character that you maybe didn't even know was a character over here in the corner is Living Lightning, another character that I don't know anything about. I feel like this is like more of an accessory type of character, like you would get him in like a multi-pack or something. Maybe they would fully do the figure, but I just don't think, I would rather this almost be like a 3D printed like custom that I get. That is going to round out all of this display. Let me know what you would want most out of this picture here. Am I the only one that would like this display? Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, stay strong.